Hi, beautiful women, and welcome back to A Life of a Woman, the podcast where we talk all things health, hormones, motherhood, magic, and creating a life that actually works for us, not against us. I am your host, Callie. I am a women's holistic health coach, a mum, and a big believer that your cycle is your superpower even with a toddler hanging off of your leg. So today's episode is for the mamas, the multitaskers, and the women who want to move their body in a way that feels good, supports their hormones, and works with your monthly cycle. All while parenting a tiny tornado of energy. So, yes, today we are talking about cycle syncing your exercise with a toddler. So let's start with the basics, cycle syncing. If you haven't listened to my episodes number 2 and number 11, go back and have a listen to them because I talk more in depth about cycle syncing and all of your different lifestyle areas. But in summary, cycle syncing is the practice of aligning your lifestyle with your 4 phases of your menstrual cycle. So, by lifestyle, we mean things like your food, like your nutrition, your movement, your self care, all of that, aligning that with your menstrual phase because each phase brings different unique hormonal changes, and this influences how your body feels, how it moves, how it recovers. So, when we understand these shifts of our menstrual cycle and we work with them, we stop fighting our body. It feels so good to just flow. We stop fighting and trying to force ourselves, and we just flow with the energy that we naturally have. So, the 4 phases are the menstrual phase, which is your period phase. So, that's usually day 1 to 5 of your monthly cycle. And your menstrual phase, as I said, this is when your period starts. This is when your hormones are at their lowest. So is your energy. So think rest and reset during that phase. The next phase after is the follicular phase. So that phase starts right like your first day of non-bleeding. So your estrogen is rising and your energy is increasing because your body is preparing itself to get super fertile. So this is your time to reawaken. This is like your springtime coming out of your shell. And then ovulatory phase, it's middle of your cycle, so about days 14 to 16. So only really short cycle, really short phase, but this is your energy and strength peak. This is when you're social, you're outgoing, you're confident. This is your peak phase, your summer. And then the end of your cycle is the luteal phase. So this is your longest phase. This is about 10 to 14 days. So day 17 until you bleed again. And this is when your progesterone rises because your body is preparing for a potential pregnancy. And with that rise in progesterone, this is when you start to feel that need to slow down, need more self-care, and crave that grounding. So let's get into the deep stuff around your exercise. So, exercising in each phase and how to actually do that with a toddler. Because I know all those feels of trying to exercise and then you've got a little body climbing all over you, calling for your attention in every which way, just massively interrupting it. So, let's talk about how we can actually cycle sync our exercise but make it inclusive for our toddler. So we'll start with the follicular phase. This is the phase that I like to start with. It's technically the first phase of your cycle because biologically it's the first phase of your cycle. So this is, as I said, this is your springtime. This is when your body is coming, like you've just finished your period. So this is when your body is starting to re-energize again, become more energized and ready to explore the world again. So your estrogen is rising and so is your motivation and creativity. So the best exercises for this phase, which is usually about 7 to 10 days long. So I would say go for some cardio. So jogging, cycling, aerobics, things like that. Strength training with moderate intensity and also maybe try something new, like a fun new fitness class or dance routine. But yeah, this is your cardio and strength training phase. Toddler friendly exercises that you can do during the follicular phase. As I said, cardio. So perfect time for going for a run. Go for a run either with your toddler in their pram, or we use a trike at home. He absolutely loves the trike. He will happily sit in that. A pram, he wants to get out, but a trike. If you're struggling with a pram and trying to find something to confine them for, these walks and things like that, going to the shops, we have a trike and he loves it. So go for a run with your toddler in the trike. Um, you could also head to the park and just run around together and, turn it into a bit of a chasey game, or just our little dude loves running, and literally to get my steps up every day, we would just run up and down our hallway for like 20 minutes. Like, it's a great way for me to get my steps in for the day. Also tires him out and we get to have fun together. And then you could also do a home circuit and get them to either join in or copy you with their toys. So you could set up maybe some jumping stations, doing, you could then do some star jumps. They could copy along. Yeah, doing some things that have lighter weights so that if they are involved, they're not going to, it's a bit less damage to them, because I know as soon as I get my weights out, little man wants to have a go. So that's totally fine. And we actually have, so I will actually give him the 1 kilo dumbbell weights because he does like to join in. And why not? FOMO, we all get FOMO. We all want to join in with things that our loved ones are doing. So I'll get out my heavier weights and then I'll give him like a 1 kilo weight. So then he can copy along as well. All right. So then next phase, your ovulatory phase. As I said, this is your summer. This is like 3 to 4 days long. This is your time for power and play. So this is your peak. So you're strong, confident, and glowing during this phase. So your best exercises are smashing out those high intensity workouts. And you're super social. So doing things like group classes or dance and team sports, but definitely doing the heavier weight training, right? This is like your hard, like this is your personal best phase, like push hard in this phase. So toddler friendly versions. And some of these can, be done in the follicular phase as well. So for example, strapping them in like a bike seat and going for a ride, that would be great for the follicular phase. Also swimming, as well for the follicular or ovulatory phases. So why not take them to the pool? Maybe someone could watch them while you do laps, or our little guy, I literally will carry him in the deep end of the pool. And so he's like a weight while I'm swimming. He's an extra weight for me while I'm in the pool. So, yeah, they are great for body weights. Use them as weights, doing things like squats, lunges. If you're strong enough and safe enough, you could do overhead presses. But yeah, do activities that use them as your weights. I still have a toddler carrier sling, so often I'll go for a bit of a run with him, like having piggybacks on my back, or we might go for a hike, and I've got him in the toddler carrier, so he's extra weights for me. So yeah, it's really especially for the follicular and the ovulatory phases, like use them as your weight if you need to. That will really help. Also, just playing really active games like chasey or jumping or chasing bubbles. Like, who doesn't love chasing bubbles? And then dance parties, high energy dance parties. There are so many YouTubes now and things that you can copy along online in your living room, like just chuck some music on and have a dance in your kitchen, or if you're needing more of a guide, like chuck on some kind of YouTube that is either some kind of exercise class or just fun music and dancing, and just have that dance party together. And then as you're coming into your luteal phase, this is your grounding and balance kind of phase. This is when your body is preparing to wind down and you'll usually feel a dip in energy or mood. And as I said, it goes for 10 to 14 days. So especially in that second half of this phase, like a week or so out from your period, that's when you're really going to notice like that lower mood and energy. So the best exercises for the luteal phase include low impact strength training and being kind to yourself because you won't be able to lift as heavy as you could in ovulatory. So go for low impact strength training, not the high intensity jumping and cardio and stuff. Like this is not the phase for that. So just that low impact controlled strength training. This is the phase for things like Pilates and walking and yoga as well. So, ways that you can include your toddler, your beautiful little toddler, go for a walk. Like, toddlers love walking. Again, go to a park, go for a walk, let them collect leaves or, see what treasures you find in like a beautiful nature reserve. You could also do, again, that yoga or Pilates, being aware that they probably 100% will climb on you and just be kind to yourself that that is okay. I actually have a reformer here on the ground and so I use my reformer during my luteal phase and he will 100% climb on me while I'm on the reformer. So it's just like that, as I said before, that bit of extra weight, but then also there are some moves that I can do where he might just sit behind me or between my legs. So he's just kind of going for a ride on the carriage, but is not like impacting on my workout at all. And then yoga as well. As I said before, there's so many like YouTubes that you could get up with a lot of like kids yoga as well. So doing some slower yoga together or have put on some beautiful music and teach them about being able to have slow dance parties or maybe some deep breathing exercises. But again, yeah, include the body weight strength exercises. And because they're slower and more controlled and lighter weights, they can totally join in. It might mean, especially if they're around, I always found when I was exercising, like with weights, when little man was around, it would take like longer. So just be aware that it'll probably take 45 minutes to an hour to do something that you could smash out in half an hour by yourself because you're just constantly distracted by them. But especially in this luteal phase, like that is okay for you and your body because your body does have that lower energy. So just grab some dumbbells, as I said, give them a really light one and do your 15 reps and then have a break playing with them and then go back and do your next set, do another 15 reps or whatever it is. So yeah, you can definitely do movement while they are around. And then the last phase is your menstrual phase. So this is your time for rest and restoration. This is your period phase. So your body is shedding and recalibrating. This is your time for gentleness. So the best exercises for your menstrual phase include that gentle stretching, so restorative yoga, just walking. Walking is one of the best exercises for this phase. Walking in nature, get that grounding happening. And also doing nothing at all is also a valid option. Um, I really like to focus on if I don't have the energy or, I don't like forcing things. So if I need to not do a physical workout, like physical movement during my menstrual phase, I really love to up my self-care. And so toddler-friendly versions of that could be that I lay on the floor and I get him to drive his cars and trucks up and down my back and my legs because who doesn't love a massage? So it's self-care for me. I get to lie down, take five, but then I also get a massage and he's playing with his trucks and cars thing and we're having that time together talking about it. So yeah, go ahead, lay on the floor while they play Shavasana, just lying down in that lying yoga pose, or find somewhere where you can chuck your feet up on the wall so that you're lying down with your feet up on the wall. Like that is a wonderful pose to do all the time. So just do gentle yoga stretches or gentle stretches while they're next to you. And as I said, because you're not trying to do anything intensely, if it takes you an hour to do half an hour's worth of movement that you'd normally do, like totally fine, totally fine. Also during this phase, as I said, walking is so good for the menstrual phase. So just go for a slow walk with them or in the pram or trike if you're needing to not if you're not wanting to chase after them, because sometimes that does happen. Usually always with my guy. He doesn't walk, he runs. So yeah, that's where walking with him in the pram or trike is really helpful. And then, as I said, dance slowly with them in the lounge room. Think cuddly, swaying, like rather than like high intensity cardio, like have, like the slow dances at a disco when you would dance like one to one with someone, like think that kind of slow dancing style. Oh, I just thought of another one as well for your follicular phase, that high energy. We have a mini trampoline, and I know so many people have trampolines at their homes. So, follicular phase, yep, he and I are always on the trampoline together. That is a really easy one for follicular phase. And then just like if you need to, well, and it's always encouraged to not just do a focused workout session, but also sprinkle movement into your days, into your months. So, some other ways that you can sprinkle movement is in your follicular phase, going for a walk. Like, I make sure that we include a walk every day. With the follicular, you could play a game like follow the leader and do some, they have to follow you around. And first, you might do some jumping, and then you'll do some running, and then you'll do some hopping, and, just keeping that energy up high, getting those cardio movements in. In your ovulatory phase, dance session, doing some kitchen bopping, doing some, step ups while you're having a dance party, doing some high knees while you're having a dance party, doing some star jumps while you're having a dance party. There's lots of different ways to include movements in there. And then luteal phase as well. As I said, like going for walks, and using them, even just walking and carrying them, like that is a workout in itself. Like I actually don't know how heavy our little guy is getting up to. I think he's probably about 18 kilos now. And so now when we're like walking in somewhere, especially because I like to wear high heels, I am like on a mission. If I'm carrying my 18-kilo toddler and I'm in high heels, like I'm walking from A to B. Like that is a workout in itself. And then your menstrual phase, just stretching on the floor, lying on the floor, lying with your legs up. It doesn't have to be hard. And these are all things that you can do in like 2 minutes here and there throughout your day. And also, while you're like, I'm such a fan of the 2 minute movements. So, when you're doing things like waiting for your kettle to boil or your toaster to pop, you could do things in the kitchen like push ups, like leaning against the bench. You could do star jumps, squats, lunges, like perfect opportunity for body weight exercises. And brushing your teeth, you can do calf raises. I got the most killer calves by doing calf raises every time I brush my teeth. And I brush my teeth for like 4 minutes a day, 2 minutes morning and arvo. And like my calves were like solid muscle. So like there, and you can also do like lean on the kitchen bench and then like lift your leg up behind you, like squeezing your glute, squeezing your butt to lift one leg at a time up behind you. So you're doing like high leg lifts while leaning on the bench. Like there is so much that you can do in just the 2 minutes, 2 minute kind of activities here and there. And always get your steps in. Do your walking. It is the easiest way to burn calories without adding stress to your body, without increasing your appetite. Super gentle for your body. So, if you're really wanting to increase your exercise, just do more walking with your toddler as a starting point. Like everyone, yeah, that's a good start. And the way that I exercise now, because I've definitely done so many different phases and ways of exercising with the toddler as they go through all their different growths and stages. So I used to exercise with them. But now I just want my 30 minutes of dedicated exercise time. So that's something when hubby gets home, he gets 30 minutes to himself and then he comes out and we tag team. So then I get to go and lock myself away in our gym and I just get 30 minutes to just smash out like whatever workout I need to for whatever phase I'm in. And it's just dedicated, like solid, focused me time. And then I'll come out and I'll finish doing my 10,000 steps for the day. And I'll stretch with him. And so, yeah, my 10,000 steps, usually we always, as I said, we always take our dog for a walk every day and then just incidental walking and adventuring. But if I need to finish off some steps in the evening, we've got a walking pad. So either I'll go on that and we'll just chat and play with his cars, drive them on the bench while I'm walking on the walking pad, or we chase each other down the hallway for like 20 minutes. So there's always ways that you can get them involved. And then stretching as well. Stretching is a bit harder because, yeah, he does love climbing all over me. But I find that can, you just give in, let it happen for the first 5, 10 minutes. And then they'll want to move on and play with whatever they were playing with before. And then you can get in some more of that solid stretching. But yes, so you just need to find what works for you and just know that each phase with a kid is like, it's going to change. Whatever you find works, and then it could be a week, a month, a year, it's going to have to change because they're in the next phase. So, yeah, just find what works for you, but it is totally possible if it's a priority for you. And our health like should be our priority because if we're not healthy and functioning, we can't support our loved ones as much as we could, or like it'll just drain us more. And also, don't put pressure on yourself to do like hour-long exercises every day. Like for women, 30 minutes as a starting point, like just do 30 minutes. Just focus on 30 minutes of solid movement, intense exercise, because 30 minutes is ideal for helping to balance your hormones and not adding stress hormone. So not adding more cortisol to your body because more stress hormone affects your hormones, affects the sleep, eating, all kinds of things. So 30 minutes is really ideal for balancing your hormones. So just do 30 minutes of solid, focused exercise for yourself, and then sprinkle your day with lots of incidental exercise with your toddler that connects with them. Just such a beautiful balance of what we're doing right now and what really works. So, but just remember, I just want you to remember, let's be real. Toddlers are unpredictable. And some days you'll have your workout gear on and then they'll melt down. Or you'll plan for yoga and end up doing squats while holding a crying toddler. Oh, that's a good one as well. Like when um like our toddler just loves to be carried and held and walked. And yeah, as I said, great body weights, but you could do some squats or just like gentle like walking and bobbing up and down. Like every movement is going to help, especially when you're carrying that toddler body weight. So whatever you do, it's okay. Like cycle syncing and moving our bodies, it's not about perfection. Like this chat was really about permission because this chat was inspired by a message I got in my DMs about how, and actually it's a message I've received a couple of times from people. So just know that your DMs, your messages, your questions, your sharing of what's happening for you, it is all inspiring. I receive it. And I just want to support and just have these conversations. So yeah, I definitely have had a couple of DMs about exercising as a mum and how to fit it in. And so yeah, from my experience, I've tried to fit it in many different ways, including them in all of it, but for I've really just had to have that 30 minutes just locked away to myself to do that intense focused exercise. So this is just giving you permission to rest when you need to, permission to move in a way that feels good, feels fun, feels healthy, permission to adapt when mum life gets wild, because it does. And if you can, like maybe prioritizing your workouts at the start of the day so that whatever your day then brings, you've still prioritized yourself. And that's why I always do our walk in the morning. Like first thing we do when we're ready to start our day is go for that walk because it gets us out in nature, it gets us like that sunshine on our bodies, it gives us an activity to connect with each other. And it's prioritizing our health first and foremost. Like it's getting our steps up. Well, it's getting my steps up. He sits in the trike, I walk the trike and the dog. He's getting my steps up because then that and moves my body because then I know I've done something to prioritize myself first and foremost. So what matters really is tuning in. So if your follicular phase feels flat this month, like take it a bit slower. Maybe you pushed yourself too hard in your menstrual phase because if you rest in your menstrual phase, if you rest when you're bleeding, you are going to be more energized for the rest of the month. Like if you honor that phase and that phase needs you to rest, you are going to feel more energized physically, emotionally, mentally for the rest of the month. So also tuning into your body and realizing what it's telling you. If you're feeling flat when, follicular or ovulatory phases, when usually you have higher energy, like what is that telling you? Have a reflection on your lifestyle, what you've been eating, how you've been moving, how you've been self-caring. Like, what is that telling you? And just let it be a framework to guide you. Don't force. As I said, like give yourself permission and acceptance that how you move your body, like if you each day just take it day by day, what phase am I in? What's the best way to move my body today? Great, let's book it in like an appointment so that you don't cancel on yourself. And then, you know, try your hardest to get there like it's an appointment that you don't cancel. Imagine if it was a hair appointment or a physio, like if you were accountable to someone, you would make yourself show up. But having that acceptance that some days, especially when they're younger, you do just need to say, I can't leave the house. So then what is the next best thing that I can do for myself? So setting that high standard in the morning and trying your hardest, like trying your hardest to make that standard happen, but then know that if that can't happen, havoc is going, like shit's falling from the sky. If that can't happen, what's the next best thing that I can reach today? What's that saying? Like aim for the moon and you'll fall amongst the stars. Like prioritize yourself, prioritize your health, hold that standard that these are my values and I am important and I deserve this. But then no, don't beat yourself up when it doesn't happen, but just recognize, you know, any patterns or yeah, just try different ways that you can make this happen. So, because your body is constantly shifting, and so is your life. Like, especially when you're a mum, your body's constantly shifting, and your life, like, we're constantly responding. And if you're needing to rest, like, you're not lazy, that is very appropriate in for like 1 or 2 weeks of your month that you just want to rest. Like, that is your body saying that, and that's totally okay. And so how I now um do it is for 3 weeks of my month, I exercise for that 30 minutes almost every day because it doesn't drain me because it's all appropriate exercise for the phase that I'm in. So I don't really have a rest day for 3 weeks of my month. I'm exercising for 30 minutes, focused exercise every day, but it's all aligned to the energy I have. And, I'm splitting like upper body, lower body, things like that. So I'm not over exerting myself. I'm not over like draining myself. But then come that menstrual phase and the end of the luteal phase, like if I'm needing to rest, I'm gonna rest. I'm gonna use that 30 minutes for extra self-care because I know that that is going to make me feel better when my energy is so low and sometimes you just want to be in bed all day and just care for yourself and you can't because you're a mum. And then as I said, like if you rest in the menstrual phase, that is going to make you feel more energized in your other phases. So actually using that time to rest when it's appropriate. And mum life is draining. We know that. The energy, the emotional energy, the mental juggling of trying to plan 5 steps ahead, the physical, depending on what your how ragged you run that day, but also your sleep. Like I think toddler parents are not it's not always acknowledged like that they are still struggling with sleep. Like up until about a month ago, I was waking up 8 times a night to feed my toddler. Like, and now I've night weaned, and now so it's 2 times a night, maybe 3 times. But 3 years of that sleep deprivation, waking up 8 times. So, yeah, just listen to your body. If you need to rest, rest. You're not failing because you don't do a full workout. You're evolving, you're growing, you're getting in tune with what is natural for you, what your body is needing. It's about getting in tune with your body. That's what this is. So every cycle, every phase, every season of motherhood, like just start small, tune in, let your cycle be your compass, not your critic. So as I said, like when you wake up in the morning, start your day like what phase am I in? So therefore, what exercise is going to be feel most good for my body? So then when am I going to schedule this exercise in? It's not about finding time, it's about making time. And that's what I've had to do with my 30 minutes of dedicated time. I used to try and find time to exercise while my toddler was around, and it was never effective exercise, not in the way that I wanted and needed at that time. And it would, if I didn't schedule in a time to try and do it, or even say, 2 o'clock once he's awake, like let's do this activity together. If I didn't do that, then it would get to, 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, and I hadn't moved my body at all. So it's about letting your compass, letting your cycle be your compass, letting it be your guide, and using it as a framework. And as I've been saying, remember that chasing your toddler, lifting them up, carrying them around all day, every day, that is all movement for your body as well. It all counts as cardio. Like I can lift up my almost 18 kilo. I'm assuming he's almost 18. Last time I weighed him, it was a while ago and he was 16. So he's at least 18, if not heavier. I can lift him up with one arm. I'm like, okay, I'm, not doing too bad if I can lift up an 18 kilo dead weight, move my one arm. I'm doing pretty okay. So yeah, I hope this episode kind of resonated with you. I just wanted to share and give permission and a little bit of loving kick up the butt to all the mums who are trying to figure this out around how to be healthy with a toddler because it's not easy, but this is just your sign to take a moment to reconnect with your body and your rhythm because it knows what you need and we just need to get better at listening to it. So yeah, if you'd love to hear more of these kinds of conversations, I actually dive deep into um, I have an episode diving deep into exercising for your cycle. So, similar conversation, but more details around what each phase needs in terms of exercise. So, you can go listen to that. As I said, I have 2 episodes all around cycle syncing and my cycle syncing masterclass. So, go listen to those. I have lots of episodes that I've done around my motherhood journey. I had one of my besties jump on and we shared 3 years of motherhood together. And there is just so much in this podcast now, so much gold, so much value around the real conversations around mums and women and the beauty of actually using our cycles as a framework for our lives and the the ease and the flow and the femininity that we can create in our lives from doing that while still achieving all that we need to. So definitely have a scroll. If you haven't listened to other episodes, go and have a scroll through my podcast episodes and go and have a listen to those that resonate with you. And download my cycle syncing cheat sheet because it lists all of these four phases and the movements for each phase, but then also more about the phase itself, the foods that you could be eating, like the also how to connect with your relationships in each phase as well. Because yeah, we need different things from our relationships during each phase. So I will actually do an episode on mum life relationships through each phase. I'm going to do that. That's going to come up soon. Um, and I will do one as well on partnerships in each phase of your cycle. So connecting with your partner because, yeah, our cycle really does change our hormones, and hormones affect everything, our needs, our wants, our desires, the way we operate. So, yeah, it only makes sense that all of those things in our lifestyles and just everything in our lives does is influenced by them and does change. So anyway, so go listen to my old episodes, go download my cycle syncing cheat sheet. I will pop the link in the show notes below, and just know that you've got this. Like your body is wise and your cycle, I cannot talk this morning. Your cycle is your strength, okay? Your body is wise and your cycle is your strength. It has the answers for you. And so I would love to hear from you what you got from this episode, or if you've got any other questions or stories or anything that you want to share with me, jump over to my Instagram, Callie Malone Coaching, because as I said, like your questions and your sharing of your lifestyle and what's happening for you, it influences like the episodes that I put out. Like I want this to be massively useful and comforting and reassuring and supportive, like these episodes are for you. So please let me know. Jump over to Callie Malone Coaching. Let me know what you're currently struggling with, like what questions you have around your cycle, how we can help you use your cycle more to your strengths, because it is such a beautiful strength. And I will see you next week on A Life of a Woman.